Hey guys, Travis with TCustomz Productionz, TCustomz.com. Today's tutorial video is going to be specifically for you Ableton Live non-users. I know that everybody that follows me is not using Ableton Live. This will be specifically for you all. A couple of years ago, I shot a video on showing you how to create a custom live set in Ableton Live. And that's basically the default template that loads up whenever you start a new set or a new session. If you've never changed your live set before, you'll probably see something very similar to this where you've got, let's say, one audio track and one MIDI track. You know, it's a very basic way just to kind of get in here and get started, but many times when you're in the creative zone and you have a certain workflow, way that you like to work, you might find yourself doing administrative stuff while you're working on your music rather than actually creating. And I mean, like, you know, dragging over new tracks, going in here and naming files, grouping things together. Maybe you have certain sounds that you like to by default route to a certain processing bus or certain little things that you like to do that are specific to your production, and you can set all that stuff up by default if you haven't done it already. It's very easy to do. Also want to give you at the end of this video a free download to my custom set. I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. You can download my live set and kind of tailor it and customize it and then resave it. You know, it'd be entirely up to you. You can use it as is, but I just want to show you really quickly what I'm talking about. Some of you may already be familiar, but it's a very simple concept. You know, let's say pretty much every track that you work on, you have one MIDI track that has a drum rack in it that you're using for your drums. Why not just go ahead and create this MIDI track? We'll rename it and just call it, let's say, drums. And let's go ahead and drag a drum rack over to this. And so now, instead of having to do that every time you start a new session, you already have this ready to go whenever you save this set. You can also right click on the track and you can change the color. And I'll show you in my live set in just a second where I've kind of color coded things to kind of separate and keep things organized. You create another MIDI track. Let's say this would be like your hi-hats or percussion. If you have a separate track for that, you could drag over another drum rack. Let's say change the color to some green or something like that. You can create a new audio track. If you have, for me, I use an audio track for sampling where I drag over my new samples. You can group multiple tracks together. So if I wanted to actually group this drums and hi-hat, I can actually select both of these tracks, right click, and hit group tracks. And now I can have a group of, say, all my drums. Let's say I'll make the group drums, and now I'll make this kick and snare or something like that. Another thing this does is it keeps it organized. When you go into your mixing, toggle over to the session view, and now you're looking at all your levels. Now you can just very easily see up here, everything's already nicely labeled, and you can adjust the levels and things as needed. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with this, and it's going to be specific to your workflow and what you need. But once you've got this created and set up the way you like, all you have to do is come up here to Options, click Preferences, and in the File Folder tab on the left-hand side at the top of this, you're going to see Save Current Set as Default. And all you do once you've got this ready the way that you'd like, you just hit Save, and that will be your new default live set. And so that's pretty much the basics for how to create a live set. Very simple. And I want to show you another example of the one that I'm using. Again, I'm going to provide a download to this. If you would like to download and use it, you can customize it for your preference. When I go to File, New Live Set, you're going to see something totally different load up. And you've probably seen this if you watched any of my breakdown videos in the past, but you'll see something very similar to this. Now, this does not necessarily mean that I'm going to have all these tracks for every beat that I work on. This is just kind of, again, a template. It's not really taking up any extra memory because I don't have sounds or anything loaded in here. They're just kind of ghost tracks for now until I actually load sounds into them. But I'll just explain really quickly what I have set up. You can see I've got different groups. I've got a drums group, a hi-hat, percussion, FX. And this is not to make you feel limited or constrained to only using these type of sounds or these type of tracks. Again, it's just kind of a general basis to go from. You can obviously add more tracks down here. One of the things you probably noticed when I first loaded this up is it actually was highlighted on this sample audio track, and that's because I do a lot of sample based production. And so when I first load up a new session, if I am working on a new sampled beat, I can just automatically have this track ready. I can drag over my audio track here. I can slice the sample up like I've shown in past tutorials, and I'm ready to go. My drums group, I can identify the kick. I can drag in my kick sounds into this drum rack and come to the snare or clap track and drag those in. And pretty much all these groups, at least the percussion groups, I have at least one audio track just in case I'm working on a loop and I want to drag over an audio loop, time stretch it a little bit, do some stuff here. I have an audio track for my hi-hats, percussion. It just gives me a lot of options instead of having to worry about that when I'm actually creating my beat. I just have these dummy tracks ready to go. I can drag the files over and just keep the creative juices flowing and make my beats a lot smoother. I will provide provide a download to this in the description, so feel free to take that if you like. If you are new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe for more Ableton Live tutorials, other beat making videos, breakdown videos, and other music artist and producer tips. Definitely connect with me on social media. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. I do respond to the messages there. Please do take a second to click the like button, drop a comment below if you were able to download the live template set that I provided. That's it. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.